Well, I may not always be able to remember which game it's going to be next, but I guarantee you Tempo Storm knows exactly where they're at. Game 4, and they're down 2 games in the series. They have to win the next 2 to defeat Naventic. This should have been an easy 3-0, Dread.
It should have been. And Naventic just fed up. They're just, we got it. They believe in themselves. I don't know what it is, but either way, they're playing out of their minds. They're drafting crazy things, and it's working. It feels kind of B-Step Part 1-y in the sense where it's like, screw the meta. We're just picking what we want. We're going to play our style, and we're going to get upsets against teams that we shouldn't be able to get that, you know, or at least statistically just seems way too lopsided for it to be close.
Well, the next choice is an important one for Tempo Storm. It's first pick or Battleground choice. We're getting down to the dregs of Battlegrounds for the teams. Let's see where it takes place.
Oh, I was hoping this would happen. Thank you so much. So, map number 1.
Talk to me, Dread.
Map number 1, Naventic picked it. They won it. Tempo Storm, map number 2. They won it. 3, Naventic. So that means if it holds true, game number 4, Tomb of the Spider Queen going over to Naventic, they would 3-1 this series.
Oh my. Is this happening?
I mean, I would say that my heart can't handle it, but we got a taste of it this week. You know, if we got No Tomorrow, we got to experience all the greatness out of No Tomorrow and the upsets that they've been able to make happen. We got B-Step getting their upsets over Team 8. Tempo Storm just seemed to be above everyone else. They were the only ones who were just, no, we are not the mortals that is North American scene. We're above that. We're better than it. And now Naventic. The weirdest part about all of it, these upsets, because if you look at where they placed before, all right, so B-Step gets the upset over what? What?
The look in your eyes.
It's my conspiracy theory,
You've got
dude.
the crazy eyes. You've gotten a taste of upsets in North America, and now you've just like, I need more. All the upsets. It must happen.
Bloodlust in my eyes, just going for it. Because, all right, so
I'm
here's...
a little scared. Help.
Send help.
Okay.
So
please.
B-Step, highest ranked out of all the teams that get an upset. They got against the lowest ranked out of all the teams that get it.
Oh, no.
Then you drop down to No Tomorrow, who got the upset over 1 seat above Team 8, Gale Force Esports. Then...
They're the chosen ones!
Naventic's the only one who could get that upset because you have to drop 1 lower in the ranks, and we've got Naventic taking out Tempo. That's
You're like a ninja mixed with a Jedi.
It's... What is that? I was hoping you can come up with a creative word fast enough, but it turns out...
I don't want to portmanteau that. I'll get back to you.
Okay, okay.
Dread's got it figured out, whether it's a conspiracy theory and we need to get him an aluminum foil hat stat, or if it's just the truth.
I throw things out, not always holding them as absolute or true within myself, but I really do, I guess.
In your heart of hearts.
I just like something about that thought process just gets me going, you know? Just
the power of threes.
Is what it probably is it. You're right.
Everything is better in threes.
Especially,
here we go, team.
We got the music. We got the draft. Ready for game 3. Tempo Storm opening with the Lucio ban. Not very common.
Ooh.
That's going to be a Malfurion first pick for Tempo.
It is.
They're done with Naventic getting on. You know, they're going to focus Ken. They're just at him. There's no way this isn't first pick, right?
The fact that it's taken us 7 seconds now.
Really feels like it's not a Malfurion.
Yeah. There we go. So they're fed up. That is a fed up ban and pick.
Good. Good, Tempo Storm.
Yes. Fuel your anger. You're not a Jedi.
Feel the dark side. Take it in.
I've made a huge mistake.
It's just welcome to Star Wars version of HGC. For the rest of the day, now that Gilly opened up that box. For Naventic, though, what do we want to see?
No, Lucio, you were banned. All right.
What?
Series time. Murden, they have been...
And the Gul'dan. They're going to go back to it. All right, so putting in the work on some of the heroes that they used to prioritize a bit higher, like that Gul'dan. These are my favorite drafts, dude. The ones where you end up in a series where you never thought you would, especially when the projected team back against the wall, because then things really usually get pretty crazy, or they're way too standard, and then
They've already been crazy.
they've just. That's a good point. We got Zagara with Devouring Maw last game.
I loved your response to that. That's a maw!
I forgot she even had 2 heroic choices. I thought she went full Abathur on that one.
Versus Freedom. On this battleground, Tempo Storm eventually led into a double melee assassin composition with Thrall and Alarak.
I remember that. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It didn't seem too impactful. Tychus, they're going for it. The ETC was the biggest indicator of the Alarak composition. So does Naventic ban it, or do they just let it through? Say, we doesn't afraid.
Naventic told me they were not. Oh, they lied to me. They told me they weren't really preparing specifically too much for the other teams. They were way more focused on their own ability.
Okay.
And making sure that they could be in the best shape they could be for the Crucible, but fooling me. And I like it.
They haven't locked it in yet. We still have a moment.
But that's at least showing that they know exactly what Tempo Storm is has played.
I just don't know if it's worth the ban, to be honest. First thought is like, no, it's not worth the time, but maybe I'm not giving her enough credit. I know Alarak ETC is a very deadly combo into the 4-man.
Dread, Kenma is already not going to be on Lucio or Malfurion.
Yeah. Which means he's going to be on what is likely...
Positioning for the team, if there is anybody out of position, a combo is going to hit them. Even if they're in position, sometimes a combo will hit you and pull you out. I would be scared.
What about a Zarya? What I'm afraid of is the Zarya Gul'dan Ariel, possibly? I haven't been that afraid of it, since apparently North America has obviously kind of volunteered away from it. But it is something that's got to be in the mind of Tempo here. This music is just making it that much... Oh, we gave it slow down for a second. All right, seriously?
If not Zarya, then is it another support? Are
Probably
they content enough?
Be like a Johanna,
Greymane.
Greymane seems worth the ban, but not to Naventic in this spot. You know what I mean?
Naventic haven't played a ton of them.
Not too much, no. With that left open, a Lucio Greymane bans for Tempo Storm. Naventic can pick from legitimately near any strategy. The only thing that has gotten removed from them would be the Tychus in the mouth. They haven't shown interest in the ETC. They got the Murd and Gul'dan. This next rotation, it's got to have some pizzazz from Naventic, and I feel like if it does, they're going to be looking good in this game. They've got control into their 4-man. They need to figure out their solo.
Tomster has played Tychus every Tomb game so far. We know he now plays Hammer, Tychus, Vala. Because he has swapped roles, don't know how far deep that hero pool goes. Probably Tomster hero here. Gul'dan almost always is Big E. Vala.
Tyrael? Or Zarya? Okay. So they go with the Tyrael.
Is that enough pizzazz for you?
Yes. That was the exact rotation I was liking to see out of them. What that does is put them a bit more on comfort. They have their solo, but more importantly, they've got the defensive tools to be impactful in these team fights over Tempo Storm with that Sanctification Strafe. Tempo. They've got the Warrior. They've got their support. Backline has been removed pretty heavily now that the Greymane ban kind of biting them in the butt with that Vala pickup.
There is still an Arthas possibility for Cattle. Kael'thas.
And we broke the puppy. Kael'thas. For Solm. Gonna accent the 4. Who are they gonna put in their solo? With the ETC picked up, do they go for the Arthas and run him in the solo?
That is what I'm guessing.
A new Barak.
So returning to the Tempo Storm we originally saw at the very beginning of part 2. Very focused on picks. Their chain crowd control with Kael'thas.
Naventic just proceeds to pick what support. What would benefit this the most? Kharazim. You got the cross supporting from Tyrael, and so one of the convenient things about Kael'thas is it's really easy to figure out who he's trying to kill. He doesn't like accidentally kill somebody. It's very apparent who he's going for, which makes Palm really easy to get off, like just into a Kharazim or into a Kael'thas. It deals with his AoE. It does suck into the chain bombs, which I can see you pulling away because of that.
I think they'll pick Rhaegar.
It just seems like they'll one-shot somebody faster than the Ancestral can get off, and that makes me not want to see it. And the reason I want to see the Ariel is I don't feel like there's enough cross-supporting to see it.
There is no cleanse.
Yeah, and there's no cleanse.
Balfurion, ETC, Kael'thas, Anubarak, no cleanse. There is an Aegis.
Yeah, this is... I was sold on Naventic until that support pick. I really was in this game. I was like, they're going to win the series 3-1. They have better forward-man. They've got the better solo. They have Zuna on Tyrael. For me, he's one of the most competent Tyrael players in all of North America. B-Kid's on something comfortable. Gul'dan is going to win the 4. Everybody's on comfort picks. And then the choke of the supports that Tempo Storm focused on pays off because the Ariel pick, they do have a battery for it. I just feel like Ariel's pretty squishy and hard to work even in the right compositions. In a poor one, and then mixed with the positioning of Kenma, I think it makes it very vulnerable to not only the other targets just constantly dying, because again, the lack of cleanse that exists there, the lack of major burst healing outside of just stalling out one gravity lapse, maybe. It feels like way too little for a last pick in this game.
It's only the second time we have ever seen Kenma play Ariel in all of HGC, including part 1. Let's see how it works for Team Naventic and if they can defeat Tempo Storm on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Q build coming out for the Gul'dan here. Who do we have on the Gul'dan? Big Impact?
Yes, Tomster playing Vala.
Tomster on the Vala, but that is very Naventic, especially when looking at just Gul'dan was one of their highest priority heroes for a long time, so was Vala. My eyes at this entire game. Beyond, I mean, Kenma and Zuna obviously have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Not just because the meme city, how easy it seems like the community makes memes towards them, but more importantly, it's just the fact that these guys Ariel with no cleanse into this comp, and then the person to make up for it is Sanctification, and that's Zuna. So Kenma having proper positioning, being very safe in this game, not getting caught out by the ETC Gravity Lapse Death Bomb. And Zuna saving souls with Sanct.
Speaking of Gravity Lapse, Sam is sitting at 3.8 kills per game on his Kael'thas. It's a lethal pick for him. A lot of his picks are lethal picks. He does trend toward having a ton of kills average, but that's sitting on the higher side of those. Fury, power slides through, trading out damage from the 2 mages.
The lane controls here, Tempo Storm has the better 4-man, just because Kael'thas, Gul'dan, Ariel, and Murden just don't have enough threat up front, and because they've already fallen behind during the first rotation, they're going to kind of be trailing the entire time. Not normally what you want to see. I do like what B-Kid did there, though, by committing to staying top. Didn't miss any of the XP, can help baby this lane, and now they're rotating down, but
Fury is spotting this, trying to stop it. Gravity Lapse follows. Root's there too. B-Kid Dwarf tosses out. Counter damage from Tomster and Biggie is real.
Yeah, and Kenma conveniently did have an entire bar of hope before that fight started. So B-Kid is going to be fine now using his passive to be able to heal up. But that was a fight started when Ariel is the best support in the game, right? She has AoE burst healing. That is something nobody else does. It's just getting that hope. So it's whether or not they can start that fight without that hope. I feel like Tempo Storm would be a lot more successful, and obviously maybe a better target than a Murden, but they weren't given too much. Good combo. It's going to make it out barely.
Every time it's like holding breath. Does he get away from that? Because that, in a nutshell, is the composition of Tempo Storm. 1, 2, 3 punch from all of the crowd control abilities that Tempo Storm has. And this time, it's on Kenma. There's the 1, the 2, Gravity Lapse comes in for 3. Not everyone in position quite yet to follow up, but Som is in trouble as B-Kid rotates in. First blood for Team Naventic.
Get the first kill of the game, and now an advantage when it comes to the gems. Naventic is fighting in this series here. I cannot get across the point enough that this is the 8th place versus the 1st place team, and the 8th place team is currently winning. So, you know, if North America is just all over the place right now, we're trying to figure it out here in HGC, but for now, Naventic has got it on lockdown.
It feels like they have woken up, but this is an Naventic that we expected for so long. We have expected this sort of play from Team Naventic, and now they're showing it. Fury has to power slide through. They have follow-up once again, but Kenma's there to help bail B-Kid out, and Naventic are fine with B-Kid being the target of this triple crowd control style. Not only can they make sure to heal him up, they have Detainment Strike to throw him away, but importantly, he heals himself up. He doesn't even have third wind, and he's been able to stay healthy.
Good oh man, I thought that for sure that was gonna land there. Nice attempt, I guess, there for Som on that Gravity Lapse to try and catch Big Impact in rotation. 25 gems have managed to turn in for Naventic after that first pick. Beautiful Detainment Strike there.
Yeah, made sure that Fury couldn't follow up a new Barak. Showing up, seeing if maybe one more stun might be the difference of getting a kill on Murden. Not yet.
Big Impact is just being the solo wave clear here for Naventic's draft. Understandably so. But it's just, he's making up for all the pressure Tempo Storm's managed to make happen. And you talked about it. The composition for Tempo is just CC. It is going to all-in kill. And I feel like they showed that very early in the draft, and Naventic went out of their way to try and punish it. They could have expected that a Kel'Thas would be the next go-to.
Yes, after an Alarak ban.
Yeah, and that is where this is so awesome to see out of Naventic, when you can see that they, you know, thought about the drafts that we saw out of the opponents in the past, expect a certain playstyle coming out from them today, and then making the adjustments in the middle of the series. It's been paying out here so far, and especially with Kenma. His positioning, he only has gotten caught one time so far, and even then it wasn't, he didn't die, he was just slightly out of position, got hit by the rotation. So if that continues, Tempo Storm, essentially their main point of their composition is failing because they aren't getting picks.
Yeah, they varied up the plan. Tempo Storm sent some members down to the bottom to see if they could get a pick there, and they couldn't. B-Kid showed up, he matched the rotation, Zuna was there too, now Zuna's heading into the top. Now Naventic are looking for a turn-in. They have 32 out of the 50 gems needed to turn in, 20 out of 50 for Tempo Storm. Gravity Lapse hits Zuna. Follow-up routes there too, but with all the members of Naventic around, Tempo Storm not willing to push past the halfway point.
The gems turn in. I'm trying to figure out pre-10 if any team has an advantage versus the other. I don't feel like it's almost dead even post-10 mark. I might give it a bit more to Tempo when it comes to sieging with the Web Weavers. In team fights, I give it to Naventic, but just off of raw siege capabilities, Tempo may have the most with the KT kill potential. But I mean, early on, no team has a major, you know, because typically we see, oh, the turn and a half for this team just wipes everyone, right? With Gul'dan comps or large poke, but with the Kel'Thas, it's about 50-50 here. So we'll see who can get those first gems for you guys. 39 attempted, not successful. Nice interrupt coming up from Tomster there on the Vala.
Yeah, I'm so glad that Kenma didn't step in to try to stop that with Detainment Strike. Instead, just showing up, letting Tomster throw in. Gravity Lapse catches Tomster, but the turnaround is B-Kid as the follow-up chain CC. And so no kills just yet for Tempo Storm with this combo. Naventic are getting closer and closer to Web Weavers.
They are trying their darndest, really, to get this turn in here. As even, it looks like Zuna, for a moment, met in the mid lane. He's going to attempt to get this channel. Cattle gets one interrupt. There's going to be two. Detainment Strike not landing against that wall. So they're going to have to kill him. They need to get that damage out. But June ends up getting the Elun's Grace delay. Naventic just forcing this turn in to wherever they can get their hands on it. This is awesome.
Yeah, it seemed like Tempo Storm wasn't going to be able to make it down with the rest. Knockback for B-Kid. Roots too, but he has Dwarf Toss still to get out.
Gravity Lapse was used, so no major CC play for a bit. There's going to be one interrupt, but June is there with the Loon's Grace once more.
Oh,
Two-man
Fury,
power.
Power Slide, Cattle follow up too. Now this is getting in trouble as B-Kid gets picked up and dropped down from Gravity Lapse. Murden the first to fall. Naventic trying to turn that final round. I was just thinking, Naventic seemed like they're getting so nervous to turn those last two gyms in that they were starting to stay out when they didn't have enough hope or stay out when their health bars were starting to fall. And that finally gave Tempo Storm the kill that they had been looking for so long in this game.
And if they manage to pick up 10, their team fight gets significantly better. So the fact that the turn-in did not happen, nor did any staggered deaths, as I say that, but no staggered death for Naventic. They're now going to be able to pick up their heroic still. They're still beyond fine, other than the couple of gems they ended up losing there off of that one pick. So we have our game on our hands, dead even. 7 minutes in as the Web Weaver spawning here for Tempo.
Cocoon once again chosen by Tempo Storm, Mosh Pit for ETC. Everything the normal heroic ability for either side.
Tempo Storm going with 4 members on mid. As Tyrael and Anub'arak kind of battle it out there on bottom. Worried about that Web Weaver. Mid is going to be able to get cleared up. Only maybe a turret. Not even going to be a turret. Is it going to be claimed here for Tempo Storm? But it's what they can do elsewhere. Typically the first Web Weaver double front wall is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, leaving Tomster and Kenma here in the mid. Big Impact's going to go up to help B-Kid, who is having a time with the top Web Weaver. So that got towers, but no fort. Bottom lane, same deal. Tower and a gate, no fort. Slight experience advantage for Tempo Storm, but a nice defense for Team Naventic.
Naventic, 83 gems in their hands, 48 turned in. Tempo Storm, 70 stuck in their reserve. Teams desperately want to get the turn in. There goes a Gravity Lapse combo, Power Slide, follow up. The roots are there. Will they get the kill? Ariel's getting the turn in on bottom. There goes a Cocoon. Horrify is going to drop. B-Kid still stands, and he makes it out of that Flame Strike, but Tomster ends up being the victim here.
And that was 20 gems. Crystal Aegis is going to try to stop this. It was meant to get picked up. Zuna silenced. Can't use Sanctification, so it'll be 40 gems dropping this time. B-Kid trying to save what he can. Web Weavers here for the blue side, but Tempo Storm with 2 kills. Siege down a fort.
Web Weavers are here. How much can we see Naventic with 2 members down get out of it? Because this first one seems to be pretty easy pickings for Tempo Storm.
That fight was a great example of how terrifying it is to fight when you are holding so many gems.
Zuno legitimately could not even control his hero, too, with the CC composition Tempo Storm had for, like, seemed like 10 seconds there. Because he had Sanctification. Sanctification has not been used.
Yeah.
Purely based on the fact that they just CC chain blocked him for so long. And that is what Tempo Storm's comp wants to make happen, and that is why there's so much pressure on Zuno to stop that momentum. Because typically in Aegis, even on less all-in compositions, is not enough to really stop that kind of major power play. 13 Talontier is here for Tempo Storm.
Kenma is holding 49 gems by himself. Here is that Kenma.
Zuno's nowhere near. Good Horrify. 4-man splits it up. That's 40 gems on the ground as Tempo Storm is zoning off. Can Zuno go in? Is he gonna?
He threw out Eldruin, but did not. That is such a bad spot to be in for Naventic. That hurts. Gravity Lapse doesn't catch Vala, but that many gems sucks.
It's beyond sucks at this point, because now, not only does Tempo Storm have a level lead, they're going to have these Web Weavers pushing once more. A man down. No heroics. Very few, at least, available for Naventic. So Tempo Storm has a very controlled lead here and should be able to snowball that into a 2-level minimum.
13's here for Naventic to try to defend, though. And they still have all their forts as a buffer versus these Web Weavers.
No Cocoon attempt there. I just want to see a full 5 versus 5 team fight. I feel like we haven't even gotten to see what happens when that goes down. Just one person gets CC'd, and then that is the end of the fight, it feels like so far. Power slide goes on to Zuna.
Once again there, he goes into Eldruin. Has to use Sanctification, strafe 2, so damage out on all the members of Tempo Storm. Odin has been dropped from Cothenluck. Zuna and B-Kid way separated. But with everybody up from Tempo Storm, nice dodge on the gravity laps.
Notice what part of the minimap he decided to juke at there, Gilly. Just a throwback from the conversation we had yesterday. And then it's going to be mid-web.
It was well done.
It was. Mid-web weavers cleared up. Top is dead. Bottom is the last one to stand, but sitting below the 50% mark. Tempo Storm has got themselves that level and a half. They have enough gems for another turn-in even after this. And with 16 talent here, it's pretty much going to be free. Naventic actually senses this. They're going to try and force. Cattle might be caught out.
Yes, but they don't have Sanctification. Fortify is good, but Fury goes right back.
Beautiful cleanse from June? Gem? Did I call him Gem because the map? Look at this poor web weaver down here. He's been left alone for so long.
That was an amazing cleanse, though.
There is the cocoon. Material has no sync for 28. Good night, Kenma. There's an Aegis.
Strafe 2. They're bringing it. Twilight Dream hits a bunch. Kenma survives. Naventic are separated, but regrouping in. B-Kid with Avatar trying to find somebody for Naventic to take out to get a kill on the turnaround.
There's a 4-man mosh pit from Fury.
Oh my!
And that is going to seal the deal there. That is 3 members down. Naventic on full retreat. Looks like B-Kid is going to lose his 37 gems. No rewind up. And now he is going down. Tempo Storm going to set their eyes towards the boss or the keep. Looks like it's going to be the boss as everybody moves up. They have a boss turn in play. 16 talent here, 2-level lead. Tempo Storm has all the tools necessary to win this game.
Let's take a look at that one again. Starting with Kenma being caught. Things seem good. They were able to survive Twilight Dream. Not hitting Kenma, but hitting the rest of the team too. B-Kid uses Avatar. Biggie's trying to catch up along with Kenma so that they can throw the damage out, but watch this turnaround from Fury and Cattle just going in together. Mosh pit!
So pretty. Everybody just dancing.
The synergy from Cattle and Fury was instant too. It's just like, and we're gonna turn now, right in.
Very well done here. Tempo Storm has found themselves this boss now after that successful mosh pit. And there is the turn-in. This could be all she wrote here for Naventic in game number 4. As there is not a lot happening when it comes to the good fortune of Naventic here. Are we going to lose the keep from wall? 16 tiers nowhere to be found, and that is really the only thing that makes me feel like Naventic could come back, force a fight at this point in the game.
There is a Horrify, so if Big E can see a way to push in one of the damage dealers of Tempo Storm into his team, maybe they could get a pick, but Web Weaver's behind the boss. Tempo Storm will momentarily let the pressure off of Team Naventic, but it's only to get this mid going so they can get another keep.
Tempo Storm now just wants to, even if they don't manage to get the keep, it's just buy as much time, see who rotates the bottom over the long run. It won't be instant, but when they do collapse towards that bottom keep, that's where they want to look to all in. Very deep Q coming out from Zuna there. Always got to keep track of that for the Holy Ground split because Naventic might get desperate here and try and force. This is one of the few moments Tempo Storm will be in team fighting range when it comes to talents and just positioning for a long while.
Naventic wants to clear out this last Web Weaver and then go with those 16 talents if they can. Try to wipe Tempo Storm, who is hungry to be able to tie this series up once again, take us to game number 5. Tempo understands that, trying to back off, using Face Mount to push back B-Kid.
They've gotten it so far. Tempo Storm has 33 gems, whereas 47 for Naventic. Naventic, can they get enough gems before the Tempo Storm even gets 20? And I feel like the answer to that is, well, it's going to be yes. They just snowballed so many off that wave. Wow.
All the waves were pushed into their base.
Yeah,
spread out, get them.
One thing, you know, it's uncaptured gems because how, you know, constantly pushing into your team, you always kind of neglect that experience. But on Tomb, you're giving up more than just experience. You're giving up the map objective. That is kind of weird to think about. The objective is literally in every single menu wave given on Team of the Spider Queen. Either way, they do have the gems. Tempo Storm, not 20 yet. They get the Giants on bottom. That should force Naventic, to be very aggressive here, being like, hey, they aren't all up here. Yeah, plus that keep is low. They want to get the fight going before they lose that if they're going to try to defend it too. Interrupt happened onto Tomster. Zuna went in. He makes it out 20 gems. Made it into the storage for Naventic after big impact getting that channel. I can just imagine after Zuna jumped to his Eldruin's Might, trying to get away from Gravity Labs, like, no, 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 no. They're forcing. Even with Zuna getting the turn in there, Holy Ground split. Gravity Lapse goes on to Zuna. Can he get the Sanct? He won't get the Sanctification because he's silenced. The Twilight Dreams again from June. Excellent in this team fight. Now Tomster's in trouble. Cattle moves in, plunges to try to take someone else out. Naventic still have 4 members left, but look at the flank. Oh my gosh, everything is gonna go down here as Fury zoning off with the face melt, trying to chase down the Gul'dan. Good power slide, and Age is gonna be used from Kenma, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Good Horrify actually gets the first pick. Is Naventic gonna be able to turn this around? Oh, they're trying hard, but Cothenlock is wailing away on this backline. B-Kid chasing down Psalm and June, trying to protect each other. Big Impact has fallen. Tomster very close to doing the same. Kenma doing whatever damage Ariel can. Muradin away from the team. Ariel has fallen. Tempo Storm lost Caterpillar, but they will win the war. It's going to be the keep here. Nice power slide in the mosh pit as well. They want to end the game. And with that pick on Sanctification, Interior should be able to do so. 46 seconds before he's going to be back. No Odin, only going to be Phoenix. It should be enough. Cocoon isn't even going to be needed here. 15 seconds for that to be back. Tempo Storm, even in this series. 2-2. We're going to game 5. Got ourselves a game 5. So now we broke the who chooses the map wins the game rule with this one. So we got to come up with another crazy theory. Haven't figured it out yet, but I'll let you know when I do. You'll have a couple of minutes to do that. So we'll take a break before the next game. Let the teams regroup. Poor Zuna. He could not use Sanctification. Yeah, that's a lot of that comes down to the Ariel pick, I think, more than just Zuna, though. We knew that Cleanse would be a needed tool for them in this game because, again, how much single target focus. So, because, I mean, Sanctification acts like a Cleanse, but it's not a Cleanse in the fact that it's just not ranged. It has a cast time. It's a lot longer. It's just way less reliable to be able to get that. Because even worst case scenario, when a bad fight happened, if that wasn't an Ariel pick, you could just then try and pre-cleanse him to make sure he can Sanct himself in those type of situations. And if anybody's near him, be able to benefit more than just one. But either way, draft aside, that last game, very confidently, Tempo Storms for the most part after the first probably 2 turn-ins, and they had